friends, and welcome to the English class. Today we are going to take a chapter from your supplementary reader, A Pact with the Sun. This is the third chapter and the name of the story is The Shepherd's Treasure. Students, it is a very beautiful story, a very simple story of a very honest shepherd. As you see, there are some words written over here which we come across while reading the story. And before reading, I would like to tell you that there is a lesson at the end of the story. We learn something from the story. So first of all, I would like to ask you a question. Do you know what a shepherd is? Of course, yes. Students, a shepherd is a person who moves from one place to another with his sheep, goats, and that is his way of living. So, the story is from a village of Iran. There lived a shepherd. He was very poor, but he was very wise. He had not been to school because there were no schools in that area. But he was very wise. He was very intelligent. People all around used to come to him to take his advice. So, he shared everyone's sorrows, difficulties, and encourage them, advise them to come out of those difficulties. So people, they regard him for his wisdom. So when this news reached the king, he also wanted to meet such a noble and wise person. So what did he decide? The king, disguised as a simple person, went to the shepherd's cottage. So disguise means to hide one's identity. So the king, disguised in a very common person's clothes, so that the shepherd would not come to know that the king is coming to meet him. So when the king went there, the shepherd welcomed him, gave him his share of food. The king was very much appreciate the hospitality. Hospitality means to welcome the guest. So, who was hospitable? The shepherd was hospitable. So, king was impressed. So, the next morning, when king came back to his court, the shepherd respected him. The shepherd told him, "Your Majesty, you are welcome at any time." The king was again very astonished. The king was very surprised. Then how come the shepherd know that he was a king? It means he must be really very wise. So the king at once decided to make him the governor of his small state. So when he came back, he invited the shepherd to his palace and he honored him. He made him the governor of a very small district. So very soon, as the shepherd was very simple, very honest, very humble person. So his simplicity, his humbleness, his goodness and his fame, it was spread all over. People loved him for his simplicity. People regard him as a very fair and wise governor. So he was very famous among people. So what happened? The other governors, they were jealous of him. So they did not want everyone was praising the shepherd. So out of this jealousy, they began to talk to the king against him. They told the king that the shepherd was dishonest, that the shepherd was taking taxes from the people, that the shepherd is keeping a part of that taxes in a small iron chest. Iron chest is a small iron box. So, and that iron box he always carried. So what happened? Due to this conspiracy, the king was also surprised because this was the fact that the shepherd always carries an iron chest. So when all the ministers, all the governors and the king and all the common people were there in the palace, the shepherd was called upon and the shepherd came there. He was holding the iron chest. So the king was really very surprised and now everyone was happy that now the shepherd ended. So the king ordered the shepherd to at once open the iron chest. And what everyone was waiting for, that there must be gold, silver, money and all the treasure. But to everyone's surprise, there was nothing like that. There was an old blanket in that iron chest. So it was very amazing. The king asked the shepherd that you are the governor. Why do you carry this old dirty blanket with you? Very politely, very humbly, the shepherd answered the king that this old blanket is my closest friend. When you take away all my riches, all my position, then this old blanket will be with me forever. This old blanket reminded me of my past. So, the lesson which we learn from the story is that we should never forget our past. So due to the shepherd's simplicity, politeness, sympathetic nature, everyone was impressed. Yes, that's true. We should never forget our past. So the king was also impressed, and the king rewarded him. He made him the governor of a much bigger district. So this was the reward of his wisdom, of his simplicity. So my dear friends, always remember that when you rise to the power, when you are at a very good position, you should never forget your past. You should always be sympathetic, always be wise, polite and humble to everyone. I hope you learned a beautiful lesson from this story. Thank you and have a nice day.